All right, welcome back. This is a very spontaneous live stream. Some live streams, I intentionally don't use notes, sort of challenge my brain because I am 45 years old. So I want to try to fight dementia and the deterioration of my mind. Okay, so no notes. I want to sort of freestyle on this one. Now, I created this channel titled SBW 12 years ago. I opened this channel 12 years ago. And at first, I did short edited videos like this, and then I started to do commentary. But I ended this channel. Granted, I did lose the password, but I lost the password because I intentionally stopped uploading content to it. And I want to explain why. I meant for this channel to be for educational purposes only. And I intended for it to be something that would motivate black women and black men in a positive way. Okay? The Cynthia G type of narrative, for example, that's not a positive way. There's nothing positive about that at all, about promoting the idea of genocide. Talking about aborting, told black women they should abort their baby if it's a black male baby. Yeah, we're not doing all of that, going around saying the police should be shooting more black people and all that. That's not my energy, okay? That's not my spirit. And I started to feel like people started to look at me as a member of that crowd. And basically, I don't want to be the reason why someone harms someone else, someone who didn't deserve to be harmed or even, cussed out or whatever. I don't want you listening to my video and then suddenly all of a sudden you feel like going out and punching some black woman in the face, or maybe being abusive to your black daughter, or being abusive or hurtful to a family member or anybody. And even though it wasn't my intent to put out that type of energy, I started to feel like people were looking at me or people would interpret the videos and use it as motivation for their own hatred for black women. Because I do believe that just like there are several black women who deep in their heart hate black men, there are several black men who deep in their heart hate they're all over the internet confessing to it. I hate black women. I don't date them. I don't ever want to look at them. All this kind of type of stuff. I've heard some guys say that they just don't like to date women who remind them of their mother or their sister. So they don't date black women. Heard a lot of, crazy stuff. But that's definitely not what I'm on. I ain't on that. But I did feel like there were some things in the Black American female population that needed desperately to be talked about, and that was not being talked about. It was not being talked about or at the level that it should have been. Now, like I said, there were a lot of black women who rocked with me. Their comments are all over the videos on this channel. The videos, the comment section has a lot of comments in them. You can check them out yourself. A lot of black women rock with me. But see, the thing is, there seems to be this reluctancy to talk about issues pertaining to black women, because we pretty much have like a matriarchal type of community where we have developed this culture where we really revere the grandmothers, the mothers, you know the big mama thing. So people don't like to be critical of black women. I'm talking about black people in general. There's a lot of black men, a lot of black women. They don't like to criticize. They view it as somehow wrong or immoral to be critical of black women, but it's free game to be critical of black males. And it's rampant in my family. But what is present in my family, unfortunately, is how there are some women, and I've seen it mostly with women in the family, where they talk about other females in the family behind each other's backs. I never get into that. And that, to be honest, that sort of messed up my relationship with my siblings. Because I always assumed that, man, if they're talking about each other like this behind each other's back, what are they saying about me? But anyways, that's a whole different video. I meant for this channel to be educational. Those of you familiar with this channel know I put a whole lot of research into this channel, educational and motivational, all in a positive way. Now, granted, I did a lot of venting on this channel, and I did it on purpose. I did it knowingly. I said a few things that were pretty harsh. I remember on this video right here, and listen, I tried to make some of these things very humorous. I tried to appeal to black people in ways that I felt they would be most receptive to. And for whatever reason, with black people, there needs to be some shock value to something before they'll even listen to you. Like, they don't even want to listen to you unless you really spark their interest. You can't come with no dull approach. It either has to be funny, something deep. It got to be deep. It's got to be impactful. But on this video, I remember I said that I wish, I wish that I wish that black women did not even belong to the same race that I belong to. I said that they make me feel like I don't even want to be proud or be the same race as them. I said that in that video. And when I said that, I actually put that in my notes. So I meant to say that. Why did I mean to say something like that? Why would you say something like that, SBW? It's because I felt like it was very, very necessary to say what a lot of black men were feeling, but just did not want to say. Because of the, don't criticize black women type of culture, there are a lot of black men, but we would talk about it amongst ourselves. How, like, man, the weaves, the fake hair, the emulation of other women. Oh man, it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing. You can't even be proud of your woman. Can't walk out in public. You can't be in the presence of Chinese couples, white couples. You won't look as powerful as a couple with a wife or woman with a flippin' wig that literally came off the head of those other women, that will forever keep black women beneath those other women. That's not how you compete with other women. You don't aspire to replicate or duplicate them. That's a crucial, very important thing to talk about. And if you don't talk about that, you really don't love your family member, your mother. Nobody, you can't watch your father who has raised you from a baby. You could not watch your father self-destruct and not say anything to them. That's how you prove your loyalty, by being willing to be critical. That needed to be said. I chose all my words on this channel very, very carefully. And that's why I made that statement. And that's pretty much the most sort of edgy statement that I've ever made. But the thing is, I've said so much on the other videos that there was a number of black people who understood that this man has positive intentions. And this sort of platform of his, it's for positive things. Okay? And I don't want to be mistaken as one of these people, like a male version of Cynthia G. Now I've seen some black guys who made videos where they're bashing and being real despiteful. Listen, don't confuse me with that crowd. To an extent, I'm a member of the Umar Johnson crowd. No, I'm sorry. No, definitely not Umar Johnson. More of the Tariq Nasheed crowd. Okay, I will say that. I'm not as edgy or ratchet as Tariq. No way. But I'm, more lean towards I'm positive. I'm about my group, my culture. I'm willing to live around nothing but black Americans for the rest of my life. I'm not anti-black American. And listen, if you're anti-black woman, you're also anti-black male. Let's get into that. A lot of guys subscribe to this channel have found my current channel, History Student. Right? And you were curious, like, what happened? What happened with this channel? Why'd you stop uploading content to this channel? If you're anti-black male, you're also anti-black female. It's impossible to be anti one gender. It's impossible. And this is why, when you let these people talk long enough, these people who claim to be for black women and they hate black men, you'll notice they hate black women too. The Cynthia G cannot stand black women. Do you see the kind of vibe and chemistry she has with other black women? It's horrible. You don't get no positive energy at all. Cynthia G is like just full of seething with hate. She hates black men and black women. And the thing is, what I want to warn the fellas about, there's no way that you can have disdain and hatred for black women and not also have it for black males. Now, understand, you're primarily against the simps, and the people who promote this gender divide and gender inferiority of black males. But the fact is, people of other groups, there's no way possible for them to be a true ally to black males. No matter how hard they try, they can never connect with and fully understand our experiences, our history, our culture, never, ever. And a person like that, they cannot be considered a soulmate, in my opinion. I don't believe a healthy relationship involves the constant ignoring of the differences between yourself. When you have a bunch of different ways that you don't connect, there's a lot of disconnection in the relationship. I don't think that's a soulmate. That's not a true ally. Do you think people of other races want to see you, black males, empowered? Of course not. And it's not really a racist thing. I am not going to go out of my way to help no other race empower themselves. Why would I do that? I'll wish you best of luck, and I'll do business with you. If you got something I want, I'll buy, I'll trade with you. But I'm not going to actually function to help empower other races, other groups of people. Hell no. So why would anybody do that with us? The only people who could possibly ally with black males is other black males and black females. Those are our only possible, only potential allies. Another school of thought I come from, and more so, Dr. John Henrik Clarke, Dr. Amos Wilson. I've talked about Dr. Amos Wilson extensively on this channel. Okay? And you better understand Amos Wilson. If you don't know him, you better get to know him. Because I was initiated basically after a lot of research, initiated by Dr. Amos Wilson. Dr. Amos Wilson was a huge inspiration for this channel, SPW. Huge. I based a lot of it on his work of black child development. Black women, in my opinion, are our only potential true allies, the only ones who could possibly mother our kids and view our kids as being just as much a part of me as the kid is a part of her. So I'm not one of these lunatics out there. And you can see by these videos, this was educational only. This video right here, white women can heal black women. You know, this is something black men talk about, but usually not in person. It's like, stop glorifying these other races of women. And the thing is, there are a lot of white women on this channel who left comments saying the exact same thing, agreeing with me that black women should make it a point to not look anything like these other women of the world. That's true confidence, especially when you naturally look much different from these other women. It starts to make you look worse and less attractive when you do things to try to look like them. Oh, let's talk about that. Just for the record, I stand by everything I put in this channel. Everything. And I will argue it right now. My whole thing is that black women should be so proud and confident in their natural genetics that they should come off as boastful about it. They have no reason not to. The fact is, black women in their natural state with their natural hairstyles, they're still attractive. That's the bottom line. They're still attractive. But what motivates black women to look like those other women is competing with other races of women, which is, for one, not even necessary. But it's also a reflection of their true insecurity. And that's the biggest problem. That it is because it's so prevalent because they truly feel that it's a mistake. Oh, God made a mistake. I'm not supposed to have hair like this. It's not feminine. It makes me look more masculine. No, that's somebody's opinion of you who is not black. Like, who invented that idea that you look more masculine, that you look more feminine? Who came up with that, and why are you believing it? You reveal that you believe it by how you groom yourself. I am not a racist person, me personally, myself. But I refuse to let or to be in a relationship with a black woman who literally has a white woman's head of hair on top of her head. A head of Asian woman's hair. Absolutely not. You will not only degrade and disrespect yourself like that as my woman or wife, you're not going to disrespect and degrade me like that. Like, that is something that no race of people should do. No group of men would want their women doing something like that. And I hammered home on this channel how unacceptable it would be if black men did the exact same thing. Do you know how hard black women would clown us? When it comes to roasting, there are a lot of women, black women. You know, black women play the dozens too, man. Don't get it twisted. They can roast you very badly. Some of these black women. And do you know how bad we get roasted? If we were the ones walking around with white men's head on top of our head and black women were the ones walking around with natural hairstyles, they disown us. Like, I don't know who these men are. These are not our men. Something happened to them. They got some type of chemical imbalance. We would get clowned badly. So why should this be any different? Why should we not talk about this? No. You're going to try to look like yourself. If I have a daughter, my daughter is going to be eager to look different because by nature, she looks different. This is what you are. Now, another problem I had is black women's lack of confidence. It's like, what the hell is wrong with you being so damn insecure? Stop that. Black women, when they're left to tend their natural hair, you would lose your mind how creative they get. They can create hairstyles and there's no way you can figure out how they did it. When it comes to black people's hair and the sponginess of it, and it's like clay. There's a whole assortment of different types of hairstyles you can get, and I share them on this channel too. I mean, never ending. You can't talk to me about variety. You know, a lot of them that's, oh, black women get weaves because they want more options. No, you just want to look like other women. Because black women, they already have the widest assortment of hairstyles. They have the widest, by far, assortment of hairstyles of any people on the planet. Because like I said, a lot of these hairstyles, at least I can't do them. You see some of these crazy hairstyles, you'd be mind blown. So it's like, what are you lacking confidence for? And the fact that you look so different, you should look at that as an advantage. Why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you? So the lack of confidence is kind of mind-boggling. And I think the lack of confidence stems from how disconnected they are with the experience of their ancestors, their historical experience, how disconnected in general they are from their history. Because if they were truly connected to their history, they would understand that it's all by design. It was all by design, and it took place over many, many decades, hundreds of years of degrading black women's beauty, of being taught that they were less than, actually putting it into the law, and treating black people in general as subhuman. Eventually, black women started to believe that, yeah, women are not supposed to look like us, the way that we look naturally. Naturally, women are supposed to look the way all the other women of the world look. And that cut even deeper, because it's not just a emulation of white women that black women attain. It's an emulation of all other races of women. And the world sees this. So how can it's like you can't even have true confidence at all if you're doing that. You can't. You have to take that weave out your head, let your hair do what it do. Another thing is cornrows, braids, locks. Pretty much all black women believe those hairstyles look attractive. So why don't you just commit to them? Look at the different ways you can wear locks. You can wear afro styles. Why don't you just commit to them? Y'all know full well that black women who are attractive, they can wear any hairstyle and they're still going to be attractive. So why don't you just commit to your own stuff? You should be proud that you got something exclusive to you that other people can't duplicate. Now, y'all remember, they actually do that in China. They got this process where they make their hair afro. How many of y'all wear that? Afro Chinese hair. It should pop right up. So this is actually a process, some type of process. Excuse me. That they have in China. They put it through, what is it? It's like they put some stuff in it and it afros up. And there's a fringe number of people over there in China who get their hair afroed. But do y'all think this could possibly be over 50% of Chinese women? No way. No way. Chinese men would have a problem with that. Like, no. Y'all trying a little too hard to look like Negro women. We have a problem with that. That's dishonoring our history, Chinese heritage. Oh, no. If some 65% of Chinese women had a little afro puffs like this, got their hair afroed, man, it wouldn't even, that's not even possible. Stuff like that can't happen unless it's institutionalized. Unless you're living in a country like the United States where your own government is passing laws that you can't even show your hair. You know, black people being forced under these laws that were subhuman, laws that treated us like subhuman, after so long, you start to actually believe that there's some truth to it. Because if it wasn't true, then why would you be subjected to these people, this other group of people, generation after generation after generation? And it seems like you're getting farther and farther behind them with time. That has to be, and that's the result, and that's where this comes from. So if black women were truly connected with their history, they would feel like being themselves is a way of honoring their ancestry. Like, I'm going to be what laws said my great grandparents were not allowed to be. I'm going to be myself. What the government really disliked was how expressive black women's hairstyles were and are, how bold they are. For whatever, and like I said, white supremacists are extremely insecure people. And that's what this comes from, insecurity, where they're uncomfortable around black people with natural hairstyles. Now, it's much more accepted today. You see people everywhere with big giant afros. But the damage had already been done over hundreds of years of having laws and treatment like this. Another reason they need to cut that check. Here we've been beyond slavery well over 100 years now, some 150 years now, and the effects on it in regard to black women's confidence is still alive and well. And I got a problem with that. I got a major problem with that. That is grounds for reparations. Look what you've done to the minds of our women. Got them feeling like it's less attractive to have spongy hair or dark skin or big lips, broad noses. When you know full well that's all perspective and how you look at things. Black women are not less. If you think black women are less attractive than other races of women of the world, then you also believe that other races of men are more attractive than black men. Now, other people won't look at it like that. There are some people who think black men are more attractive than other races of men, but believe black women are less attractive than other races of women. And that is only because they're trying so much to look like them. I believe black women in their natural state, you can't even compare them to other races of women because they look too bold. Why can't bold be better? You heard the saying, bigger is better. Why can't bigger be better when it comes to a human face? Why can't a bigger nose be a better nose? Why can't bigger lips be a better lip? And the thing is, if you're a white person, you should believe that a narrow nose is better. Thin lips are better. Yeah, tell yourself all that. Everybody should. Everybody has a right to appreciate what they are. That's a natural freedom. But it's a freedom that black women have been punked out of because of how bad they've been attacked. This is the result of them being attacked, people. No matter how, I don't want to hear this idea of, oh, don't you blame white people, don't blame. Shut up. This is our government. Our government was ran by white folk. Racist white supremacists, I might add. The whites in society who are not racist, they've never been powerful. They've never been a powerful force because they are not actively going out trying to harm people. Okay? If they were, then they would intimidate other white people, and those other white people would then do what they say and follow their lead. So generation after generation, forcing black women to live and treat themselves like they're less attractive, like they're less feminine. Now, I explained in this channel why black women are projected or seen as more masculine. Okay, and I still hear that talking point going on today about how black women are more masculine and look more and I'm talking about looks, not their behavior, not their attitude. Where people, both men and women, talking about black women look more masculine. I told y'all about that. Don't make that dumb mistake. Because the only reason they say that is because black women resemble black men. So the only other demographic that black women look like is a demographic of males. Whereas the white woman, the European woman, resembles very closely the Mexican woman and other women. Okay? It's not just the white man that the white woman resembles. That white woman looks like all other races of women other than black women. And except, the dark Indians. But even then, even with the Europeans, Caucasians and Indians, the real super dark Indians, they still got the same texture hair. And they still have the same phenotype as far as the thin noses, thin lips. Now, some of those black Indians, they do have broad noses, broad lips. For the most part, they have the same features because they're Aryans. They're both Aryans. So the only other demographic that looks most like black women is black males. So they're like, oh, you look like a black man. No, that's a form of disrespect, people. And I started seeing too many black men co-signing with this. Stop saying that. Stop saying, are you saying that you're incapable of producing a beautiful daughter as well? Don't go around here saying that black women look masculine. Not only is it not true, it's a dumb thing for you to say as a black man. If they look more masculine, then why would any woman of any race want to have your baby? If your daughter is not going to be as attractive as if she had a daughter by a white man. Fellas, we cannot get so wrapped up, get so emotional that we start to act dumb and stupid. This is another thing I started to see on this channel. How too many black men were doing the same thing they were accusing black women of doing. Letting their emotions override their better judgment. Don't be so mad at black women and understand. I totally understand how black men feel betrayed. They feel like their group of women degrades them and projects to the world that black men are incapable of having beautiful daughters. And at that point, you start to dehumanize yourself, your own history, your own ancestry. That's the wrong path. We as black men cannot go around saying that these other women look more. And look, even if you may even believe that. You may believe that. Keep it to yourself. Because at the end of the day, that's your personal opinion. But you're saying they look more masculine. Even you as a black man, I challenge that much of the reason why you're saying that is because they most resemble black males. Because these black masculine women, so-called masculine women that you're talking about, you know, they look like they resemble black males. And if they had a thin nose, thin lips, you think they resemble, oh, now you resemble white women. But with only black people producing like the broad lips and that thick lips, and I've even heard some of them say that black women have stronger jawbones or more pronounced jawbones or something, a whole bunch of crazy nonsense, where even ignorance of biology causes us to make asinine statements. So yeah, you had that where they was getting, and also on this video right here, I potentially shared inaccurate information. Now, it doesn't cancel out the whole message, but the statistics of black females in abortions, I question. I question those statistics. I question whether or not abortion has been the #1 killer of black people. I question the statistics overall in general because I found too many false statistics. Okay, but I felt overall like I said what I wanted to say on this channel, which is why I pretty much stopped. And, I felt like it was necessary to speak in defense of black males because a lot of these arguments were pretty ridiculous. You got to understand, there were full-blown campaigns, anti-black male campaigns at the time when I created this channel by black women all over the internet, talking about how they can't stand black men, don't date black men. They just anti-black male 100%, just full head on. It was like this movement. And they were getting on talk shows. They would be on the news. And black males were not on the news. They were not on the talk shows. They were not letting black men up there to give their side. They was only getting the talking points from these black male hating black females. That was this second anti-black male black feminist movement that we've dealt with. There've been a number of them. So I'm like, man, nobody's speaking up for us at all. And a lot of these arguments are goofy. So I had to talk about it. And everything I talked about is right here in the channel. Okay. But I had to put an end to this channel because there were too many of those types of people. You got to understand, look, man, I don't know how I attracted these crazy people, the Cynthia G types, but that ain't me. Far from it. I've said that if I don't marry a black American woman, then I just won't get married, because I value culture. I value history. I value that connection. I value that familiarity. And this is the case with a lot of people. And I would argue that most people are like this. Most people date within their own race. And they do it because of how familiar they are with their counterpart, with their natural counterpart. It has nothing to do with, being Hotep, which a lot of people like to negatively project. Oh, you on that Hotep stuff. Oh, the black woman is God. Oh, the black queen, the black woman is God. No. Familiarity. It's an issue of comfort. Even just sitting in the house, watching a movie, chit-chatting or whatever, it's more likely you're going to have moments of laughter, things you remember, things in the culture that you converse. There's more things to talk about in general. Different elements in hip-hop, maybe R&B, stuff like that. You having a shared culture gives you more to connect on. Whereas with a lot of interracial couples, and they're all over the internet, being an interracial couple opens the door for them to connect on degrading their counterpart. And it's always the black person's counterpart that's getting constantly degraded. A lot of these interracial relationships are extremely toxic and anti-black. There ain't nothing anti-black about me. Just like I am not a racist, I'm not against any other group except white supremacists, dead set against them, and any other racist, whatever race you are. I'm not no anti-black person either. I'm not anti my history. I don't play that nonsense. Okay. And you can call me, I've been called pro-black for almost 2 decades now. Knock yourself out. Because for a black man, a black person to be a normal person, just like everybody else is, they're going to be projected as racist or pro-black or whatever. Hey, knock yourself out. That's just something we got to deal with, people. It's just like with white people. When white men, or it's usually white women, with white women who say that they would never date a black man, who say that they would never date outside of their race. You can't call those white women racist for that. Because the fact is, most people do it, and it's done for obvious, understandable, logical reasons. So I'm not going to let nobody project me in no certain way. And look, you want to call me a simp? Knock yourself. I know what a simp is. And it can't no simp produce what I've produced. But I understand this. I tell you what I ain't. I ain't no ignorant buffoon out here who about to disrespect my ancestry. I'm not about to disrespect my grandparents by getting up here projecting this idea that black women genetically flawed or dysfunctional. A lot of the fellas out here, sadly, some of them have good intent, but their message end up projecting this idea that black women just genetically and naturally got some type of flaw. And at that point, you co-signing with the same type of scientific racism that we've been fighting against, that our ancestors fought against. So I realized that this whole platform was a lot deeper, and it should be dealt with very carefully. And everybody who gets involved, who absorbs this information, you need to be very careful that you're not starting to co-sign with racist thought. a lot of these black men, they start off as black men who love black women. A lot of these guys are black males who've only dated black women in their life. And they run across the ghetto gaggers. They run across the groups and the forums and the YouTube videos and whatnot. And then they become disappointed. They feel betrayed. And they lash out. If they keep doing that, they can eventually start to literally, genuinely hate black women. You see, because if you're lashing out and doing nothing but lashing out every time you talk about black women, you start to condition your own mind to be a racist. Eventually, you start to act. Look at Fresh and Fit, for example, and you know them dudes. But a lot of those dudes are like that. They're very anti, because in their home countries, there's a lot of tribal beasts where they at each other's throats against other black women. They've already gotten to that point. So, but even if I were to regain control of this channel, I wouldn't remove any of the videos, and I would not remove the channel, and I'm willing to stand by everything I put into this channel, because my lifetime work, I want to be as having helped other black people in a positive way. Inspired black women to have confidence, true, genuine confidence. And that's true beauty, confidence. That's what I want. That's what I want. And flat out, a black woman who's genuinely confident, most other women of the world, they don't try to compare themselves to black women like that. They're not trying to compete with you anyways. And it's so crazy. It's like, why do black women feel like they're somehow naturally less attractive? People, I'm going to share something with you that made me uncomfortable. Oh man, it made me uncomfortable. And I hope my sister don't hear this video, or she's going to kill me. But I remember my whole family is very attractive. My whole family look like models. And for a while, my sister she got into modeling. And she said something that burned into my memory, and I was speechless after she said it. She showed me a photo of herself, and she was with two other white models. They were doing some type of modeling thing. And when she showed me the photo, she said, look, I'm just as pretty as them. And I'm telling you, man, I felt crushed inside. Because it felt like she said it as if, hey, look, I finally reached them. I finally caught up to them. Oh, look, I'm doing a good job looking as much like them as possible. It's like, no. It's not about being just as attractive as other women. It's just about being the best you can be. Being an attractive woman, period. It has nothing to do with other women. Nothing. And listen, this is just totally unacceptable for me. Stop wearing these weaves. Stop. They should go out of business. They should go. And that's another thing about this. It's disheartening because I don't see the weave industry going out of business. At this point, that should be unconstitutional. weaves should be seen as an attack on the black community, because it is an attack on the black community. It's an attack on the minds of the kids. Another reason why I think that channel needs to stay. Because we can't even wrap our head around how much it must damage us as kids, because we start to understand all this type of stuff as kids. I mean, very early, prepubescent, you start to understand, you start to see these types of things, you understand them fully. You have no idea how that shatters our confidence. Even us, who seem very confident on the surface, we deal with several insecurities. There's not a completely confident black American on this planet. We all been touched, and it's because of that history, and it's because of how society constantly projects black women as less than. The fact is, black women need the option to grow up in a world where they see themselves on a platform, on a pedestal, their natural identity as the standard. Just like you as white people, you have that. These other groups, you enjoy that. Now, some of the people over in Africa do too. We should as well. And we should have exclusive control over what is beautiful. You know, that's the kind of world these other women grow up in. So they get to enjoy that confidence. You know, that confidence gives you this glow. You shine. It gives you, it's very magical. In the society that we exist in today, it does not reinforce it in black women. Black women don't get to enjoy that. So they have to make this sort of alternate world in their mind just in order to be just as confident as other women of the world. And it should not be that way. Okay? Now, those of us who are older, we may know better. But, you know, you got to be careful with how you attack black women, because you are looked down on as a black man when you do that. Because other people, everybody, they can tell when you're being genuine. They can tell when you have malicious intent. They can tell when you truly hate your counterpart or not. People can tell, especially if you're talking like me. I'm up here babbling. You know, the longer you talk, the more people process your energy in general. And there's too many black men I see like, look, man, you got to be careful with how you approach giving constructive criticism. And as mushy as it may sound, you have to always be mindful that this is your counterpart. This is your family member. You know, as mushy as it may sound, black people, y'all need to practice. We need to practice more respect. That's what it really boiled down to. Yeah, black women, you know, their minds were damaged. And it's you can't disconnect it from the historical experience, people. You can't. You can't talk about this weave culture without dealing with the historical experience. And with the weave culture, it made it so much worse. That's so much worse than like the hot combs and flat irons, where they used to, you know, they didn't wear all these wigs that come out of people's heads. They would just, you know, hot iron or straighten their hair. That was bad enough. But this weave culture, that's like 10 times worse than that. Cause now it's like they're like, look, I don't even want my natural hair to be seen. So I'm laughing, but listen, man, this is not funny. This is not funny. Weaves are overboard. I will always be a harsh critic, probably the harshest critic you ever heard in your life against weaves. That channel I created, SBW, silently, you have no idea, it gave birth to a whole lot of people some very popular YouTubers were very much inspired by this channel. I will always be a harsh opponent against weave. Are you crazy? If you came here expecting me to put some type of stamp of approval on hair weaves, you got another thing coming. That's the one area where me and Tariq disagree. I don't think Tariq has a problem with the hair weaves. And I don't have a problem with people like Tariq who don't have a problem with black women and hair weave. Because those black men still understand, yeah, they wear weaves, but we need black women. I'm not willing to commit racial genocide, racial suicide. Because then how would that make me any different from these same black women that I was criticizing? Laying up with Zaddy, degrading black men, bragging about how their offspring is going to have good hair. You're the exact same as them if you're out here spewing that nonsense. You know, the Tariq Nasheeds of the world who don't give, he actually sort of promote weaves. He be joking about buying girls bundles and all this kind of stuff. He basically promotes it. And he basically has to. As a filmmaker, you know, that's his audience. And the fact is, it's very unlikely that we are going to be able to persuade black women to stop wearing weaves. It's very unlikely, fellas. I would go to say it's probably impossible. It's possible, but it would take a mighty long time, and it would take a powerful, influential engine to drive something like that. It's very unlikely. Most likely, we're going to have to overcome economic hardships. We're going to have to overcome a lot of things with damage, with the weaves. Because the fact is, there are many black women who wear weaves who are actively, positively having a positive impact on black businesses, who run black businesses. There are black women who have hair weaves, who do good things in the community, who campaign for a lot of very important things. What I'm going to do? If a black woman with a hair weave is a politician with a lot of influence and she support reparations, I'm going to go vote for that woman. What are you talking about? I'm going to support her. You know, and the fact is, some of these black women who wear hair weave, they can do a lot of positive things. I'm not going to turn it down just because they're wearing hair weave. That hair weave ultimately has to do with me and my wife, and what I'm not going to allow to go on as my wife in my home with my daughters. That ain't going down at all. And don't get me started with the hair weave. Y'all thought Umar Johnson was bad with the hair weaves. Boy, I gets it in. Don't play no hair weave. I don't play no black woman downplaying her blackness. Don't you downplay your blackness at all. You stick your chest out about it. Not even one bit. I don't tolerate that. Y'all better understand something about these pro-black people y'all talk about. Yeah, we don't play that. You're not going to downgrade blackness, downplay blackness in no way. And that was the overall message of this channel. That's disrespectful to your ancestry. You wearing a flipping hair weave, emulating these other people. Don't ever act out your belief that you're less beautiful. That's the worst thing you could teach your daughter. I feel a lot better. Shout out to everybody. Say, how can Afro hair be masculine if the black woman was the original woman? And that's the thing. Afro hair is not masculine. It's not masculine. That's our perspective. Afro hair is simply standing up, just like a flower stands up, like plants stand up. They don't, droop over. They just stand up. So some hair will droop down, some hair stands up. And seeing that black people, according to science, were the first people on the planet, it makes sense that black people still have some of the traits of the original people. And that seems like an original trait, a trait that an original person would have. They would have hair that stands up out of their face. Because hair that hangs in front of your face can become harmful to you. It can block your vision. Let's say you're running for your life, hair flying in your face, you run into something, your hair get caught into something. Whereas if it's standing up, it's completely out of your way. It's not in your ears. Sometimes you got to understand stuff will get on your hair, and then your hair will get into your eye, and now you got some kind of eye infection, got some crap inside your eye. It can be a serious detriment to your overall existence to have hair that hangs, that droops. So it makes sense. Black people being the first people on the planet, their hair stands up out of the way. Stuff like that is cosmetics given by nature itself. That's something to be proud of. That's not something to hide, to treat like it's some type of curse. That's backwards behavior. You're supposed to be proud of stuff like that. So I believe our natural hair, there's some significance to it. It's truly something to be proud of. Genuinely something to be proud of. And, they got them treating their natural hair like it's some type of curse. And I think that's like true witchcraft. Like, we cast curses on ourselves by doing stuff like that. I've talked to people about stuff like that. I'm very superstitious. I come from a lot of hoodoo people. You can cast curses onto yourself. The spiritual realm is very real. These pacts with demons that these rappers and artists makes is very real. The spirit world is real. We're in the spirit world right now as I speak. You're listening to a spirit. And when you actively treat something as if it's a curse, I believe that is a curse. Okay? So I seriously, genuinely don't play that. So on top of the function of Afro hair, it looks fine. Even if a black woman wears a full Afro, it looks good, especially when they wear earrings. That looks very fly. And no other woman can look like you. You should be proud of it. And the fact is, people, and y'all know this is the truth, any woman with a pretty face, any black woman with a pretty face, you'll look attractive with any hairstyle. Any hairstyle. Get your box braids. And why not braids? At least with braids, it hangs down. It gives you that look that you're looking for. The long flowing hair. You can get the braids that comes down real far. Why not commit to braids? No, so many of them, too many of them, they have to have the exact same head of hair as other races. It's beyond just trying to look like those other women now. No, I want those women's actual physical hair. At that point, I gotta blow the whistle. Stop. No, stop. No, you're not gonna disrespect my ancestry like that. Yes, black women, I don't care what you say. You disrespecting yourself, degrading yourself, that's disrespectful to my ancestry. We are one and the same. You're not going to embarrass me, my ancestry, like that. By treating your genes like it's a curse. That's so disrespectful. And it's real sad that a lot of black women who go natural, they do it for their white male partner because he sees it as a fetish, a slave fetish. So there's a number of black women who do go natural, but not every natural black woman you see has the rest of her head screwed on right, if they're involved in that type of lifestyle. Oh, my zaddy likes me to play a slave wench, bed wench. And we role play. And boys, there's a lot of role play available on the internet. And that's what I like about the internet. I don't have to do too much to prove nothing. Everything you can be looked up online, you know? So yeah, right now as we speak, black women hate black women with a passion, but love white men to death, bro. But not all black women. Now understand, not all black women are our allies. A lot of them are actually functionally our enemies. That's true. There's no doubt about that. Several black women are enemies and function as enemies to black males, but not all of them. Not all of them. We can't stereotype them. No matter, come on, we cannot stereotype them and say all black women hate black men. That's just not true. And the thing is, that's easy to find. They're online. They're everywhere online. And many of the black women who are in a relationship with black men, they're not online bragging or boasting about it. You know, you will just see them on their profile with them. So it's not all black women. And I'm only rocking with those black women. The black women who hate black men, listen, there are a number of black men who hate black men too. These simps that we talking about. Remember, the simp, that's the son of the black feminist mother. He hates black men too. And he's more likely to date outside his race while denigrating black women all on YouTube, even though they don't do that nearly as much as the bedwenches, nearly as much, but they're on the internet. They're out here. Okay, I'm not about to be that guy either. So, you know, and that's the thing about this whole part of the internet. It's easy to come off as like an extremist, you know. It's easy to sort of start stereotyping black people. It's easy to slip into doing the same thing we've always been fighting against. We've always fought against being stereotyped as a group. So, you know, so with that in mind, we can't do that with black women. We always got to acknowledge that some black women hate black men. I will even accept most. If there are black men out here who believe over 50% of black women have this sort of hatred for black men, I would take that. I would accept that, because the lack of respect is extremely prevalent from black women towards black men. It's extremely prevalent. Like I said, we have a big mama culture. So naturally, the women in the black community get more respect than the men in the black community. It's more acceptable to abuse a black boy, to beat a black boy physically, and he gets a worse beating than so much with the black girl. The girls can do stuff and it's no big deal, but when the boys do something, it's like the world coming to the end. You gotta knock them across the head, right? But you know, we can't stereotype ourselves. That's because at that point we're doing we're working against ourselves at that point, you know. And the black women who hate black men are out here being enemies to black men, helping to stereotype us, saying things that will help get us shot. Those are enemies that need to be acted against. I'm dead set against all black women like that, and black men, yeah, because there are a lot of coons out here who do the same thing. But listen, I'm not willing to be against all black men, even though there are a segment of black males who hate black males, who do nothing but denigrate black males, who reinforce false stereotypes about black males. They'll get around white people and they'll talk about, oh, all black people are criminals except me. I'm the magic Negro. Yeah, but I'm not. Those types of coons exist, black males, but I'm not about to cut off all black male relationship with black men and black. You just can't do that. You just got to rock with the people who are on the same code as you, who are on the same page as you. And you know what? White supremacists do this very effectively. They focus on other and interacting with other white supremacists. They don't focus on the ignorant, the dumb, the unlearned. They look down on them, actually, and they speak out against them. And I'm very similar to that. Dead set against these coons. And listen, we always have been. Black America has always spoken against the coons and the buffoons within our population. That's part of our history too, man. To self-correct ourselves. There's nothing wrong with that, criticizing yourselves. And I will speak just as critical, and I do, on that channel, SBW. I'm just as critical with these simps and these turncoats and sellout coon black males as I am with the black females. It's just that with the black females, it's a lot more intimate, man. And it's a little deeper, you know, with the way women carry the baby 9 months. You know, women govern all emotions, and they're still connected in one with the child for several months after birth. Women play the biggest role in our self-confidence. And black women's overall lack of confidence, it trickled down to black males as well. The mother's going to pass that to her offspring no matter what. Women are so receptive to energy when they are pregnant. It is mind-blowing. It's truly mind-blowing. It's as if the baby can feel everything. I talked about in one of the videos on that channel how the fetus, the baby, can actually feel his or her mother's insecurity. Because her lack of confidence, her insecurity represents itself in how her hormones are configured. And the baby interacts with the hormones of the mother. So when she's stressed, the fetus, the baby's stressed. When she lacks confidence, the baby lacks confidence. Her offspring is really an extension of her spirit to a great extent, that we as the fathers responsible to guide, teach discipline, instill direction and value for certain things like motherhood, something that we've lost value for through slavery. And that's something we need to reestablish. Listen, man, I'm for the betterment of black people. I'm not trying to tear down black males or black females. I'm not trying to attack nobody. Saying I'm trying to have a positive effect on others in this lifetime. Life too short to be out here acting like a fool. You know? Yeah, most black women starting to stereotype black men. Yes, it's prevalent in my family too, and it's like it's crushing to an extent. You feel so betrayed, but it really calls on more responsibility from us. In this life, we have to be so strong, so headstrong. It's pretty ridiculous. We as black males, we don't have time to be out here clowning and buffooning like so many of us are. So hopefully we can get through a little bit to the masses. Big shout out to everybody. Been on here for a while. And I hope to see you all on the next live stream.